Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream tonight. How are you all doing? It is Wednesday, May 7th, where it's about roughly a little bit after 10 p.m. on the East Coast. And I thought, being that last week I didn't get to any calls because we spent so much time, like 4 hours, I think, watching Sam Cedar and Ethan Klein talk. Which did well, by the way. I'll never understand how I'll do this deep dive that I spend hours, sometimes days putting together. And, the show will get a couple thousand views, maybe a couple thousand podcast downloads on top of that. And then I do a live stream just commentating on another person's live stream. And it's like overnight 20,000 views. I'll never get it. I mean, I'm just not cut out. I'm just not cut out for this world, am I? I need to get into more drama, right? That'll get me that'll get me attention. Anyway, because we went so long doing that, and I feel like we did that without delving into the drama. We stuck with the meat of the conversation, which is why, I watched Sam's discussion with Ethan, but I don't think we'll watch Hassan's, and that's not because of Hassan. Hassan, from what I've seen in clips, does great. When they do have some sort of discussion of the issues, but it's because obviously Ethan Klein couldn't help himself but bring up the drama with Sam, and the drama isn't even with Sam Cedar. So I've heard the one with Hassan is because that's who he has the problem with. It was a lot of that. Maybe we'll watch it. Not today though. Maybe sometime down the line when I really need that hit of views. I'm like begging for some views. I'm shaking for my withdrawal of YouTube engagement. Maybe then I'll watch it. But tonight, because I didn't get to it last week, let's take some calls. I know people love to do calls. So 646-303-7337. 646-303-7337. If you're new to the stream, you literally just call in and I take the calls. First come, first serve. And we could talk about anything and everything. You can call in to tell me how much you love me and agree with me. You can, hold on, Bayphoto with a super chat member for 22 months. Bayphoto says, if you watch and react to Hassan and Ethan, you're going to be here until midterms, Matt. LOL. Right. Oh, we got calls coming in. Let's do this. Hold on. Let me make sure I got the audio coming through. All right, let's do this. 661. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello, 661. All right, you're not coming through. Try calling in again. I'll take your call when you call back in. Let's take this next call. 304. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Ren calling from Oregon. How are you doing, Matt?
Hey, Ren from Oregon. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm really tired. I had this moment today where my therapist, I was on a call, and he told me I'm in like a message chain for therapists and psychologists, and this one trans care provider told me about how the FDA is taking away clearance for like gender affirming care medications.
Oh boy.
And
I mean, not surprising, I guess, right? I mean,
I felt my whole stomach sink out from under me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I've been waiting for this moment to happen for more than a year. It's like, oh, it's bad. It's bad out there.
Yeah. I mean, and this is just just begun. Who knows where they're? I do feel like I don't know. Has this week felt a little bit slower than it's felt since the year began than for anyone else? Like, I feel like this is the first year where like the Trump administration,
No,
like,
not for me.
now for you, what's going on?
I've just had a lot of shit happen.
No, I'm talking about like
So,
in
you
the
know, I went and I
news.
did
I'm
my
talking about in the news. Like,
Oh, in the Trump yeah, it very much feels like it's slowed down. They're gearing up for something more than just like the vain posturing and cutting funds.
oh well, I don't know if it's that. Like I think maybe they're running out of steam, running out of juice. They shoot. They,
You
sh-
think they're running out of steam?
I'm not saying they're not going ahead with bad shit. I just don't think they're going ahead with any bad shit we don't already know about. And they're running out of juice. They don't. I mean, he's already pulled one surgeon general for another one lunatic conspiratorial surgeon general for another one in one day apparently. I think these.
Wow.
I think he's going. I think I mean, it's clear he doesn't have it anymore. Like like you'll see like bits and pieces of the old Trump shining through every now and then, but like this second term Trump, he just doesn't have the juice. I mean, think about like all the horrible things you hear. They ain't coming from him. He's too busy on the golf course or you know,
Yeah, I mean, like I did see some stuff from him. I did see some stuff from him, and this isn't to say that he's like totally got the energy. But with that Houthi peace agreement and his announcement regarding that,
oh right,
and
hold on, he
you
said
know, like
something
the
like
stuff with Canada,
excuse me. What did he say again? It
they
was
fought.
the-
One could describe it very bravely.
right, yes, very bravely. The Houthis. What did
They
he
can
call them?
take
I
a
actually
lot of
did.
punishment. They can take a lot of punishment, and they did,
He
and they
said
did.
that. I actually
They said
did.
they'll stop bombing ships, and we'll respect that.
And then I saw
No,
the
it
Houthis
very
came
much
out.
feels like a more subdued Trump.
The Houthis came out and said they never said such a thing.
That seems to be what the negotiation was. I mean, I pray to God that it holds because, you know, I don't know. Like, I know this may sound crazy for me to say, but like, it seems to be that what the negotiation has been is that America says, okay, this is costing us way too much fucking money. Hey, we will leave in exchange for you agreeing not to bombard American ships anymore. To which the Houthis said, yeah, sure, that sounds good to us. And basically, the agreement was just like, stop bombing American ships. We don't care what else you do. Bye. And if that holds, then that's a fantastic peace deal. That's amazing. And honestly, like, I don't know if I actually no, I don't think Kamala Harris would have ended Operation Prosperity Guardian. I don't think she would have.
Oh, is that what it's called? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Who called it that?
Biden, but really probably Jake Sullivan.
I'm looking. Oh boy, I didn't even realize that that was the name of it. No,
Yeah. So
that's.
basically,
I think that's something. I think you are right about that. That is, and not because like Trump's the peacenik or something. I just think Trump doesn't give two shits about what's going on there, and he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to waste a second of time he could be on the golf course, or doing
I
his
agree.
doing his deals tap
I think
dance,
it's
his trade deals tap dance. I think he'd rather do that. He doesn't want to get involved.
You know what I think it is? You know what I think it is? I think that he cares a lot about his image and he wants to look big and strong. And, you know, like, I'm going to be so honest. Like, he is kind of right if he interprets it the way I think he does, which is that Biden shouldn't have gotten involved and that it was a constant embarrassment for America. Because it was. We were just constantly losing money there and constantly losing planes. Like, every time we would shoot down one of these $7,000 drones, it would cost us $9 million.
Right. I also do wonder. I don't think he cares so much about that, honestly. The first part, I think he cares. Like, what are we doing over there? I don't give a shit what's going on there. Why should the U.S. be doing that? I don't think he cares so much about the, like, I've done the numbers and we could save $9 million here and $9 million. I don't think he cares about that. What I do think is part of it maybe is that this started under Biden. And this is something where he can just basically be like, oh, Biden did it, I ended it. You know, it's that simple sometimes with him.
Yeah.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if somewhere down the line, not too far down the road, maybe a couple of weeks, he restarts his own campaign against the Houthis and just gives it his own name and says, "This is the greatest, this is the greatest operation of all time. I started it. It's my operation."
Wait, what'd you say? What'd you say the last bit of the sentence
Oh, I
there?
was just saying, this the great. Trump would start his own operation against the Houthis and say, "This is totally different. It's my own operation. It's a totally different operation. It's the best operation of all time."
I mean, maybe he would do just like traditional drone warfare against the Houthis, but he'd probably pull the Navy out.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. I don't think
but the thing is that if he did that, then like, you know, they would start targeting American ships again. The whole way that this worked was that the Houthis started targeting Israeli ships. Joe Biden was like, wait a minute, Israel, that's America. And then went and sent the U.S. Navy to go and fuck around with the Houthis. And then the Houthis said, okay, America, you're on the list of ships that, like, we won't let through either. You know,
right.
like they didn't involve the Americans until we involved ourselves.
Right. No, I think it's a little bit of all that, honestly. He's doesn't want to get involved. It's not something he started. He doesn't know too much about it, to be honest. You know, I think it's a number of these things. I mean, again, this is a guy who doesn't really like. It just came out this week, right? Or was it late last week? But it came out that Pete Hegseth ordered the you know, the Defense Department or whatever it is, the Pentagon, whatever, to cancel the weapons supply to Ukraine. This was just a day or two ago. This came out earlier this year, and the Trump administration had no idea. They were blindsided by Hegseth's order to cancel the Ukraine weapons. This is the administration who has no fucking clue what they're doing. Everyone thinks they're in charge. There's no one steering the ship because Trump is checked out. Trump is checked out.
He totally is, but the thing is when you've got little fucking...
He didn't want to do this again.
You've got little fucking fascists like Stephen Miller running the show.
Oh, that's who's running the show.
They are absolute...
Trump only wanted to win so he could get out of all... Trump only wanted to win so he could get out of his legal troubles. I think that's perfectly clear now.
I agree. No, that's the thing that I've said on the radio multiple times, is that the whole reason Trump is president is because he wants to make a little bit of money, look pretty, and stay out of jail. That's the whole thing.
I think, though, honestly, I think this time around, the money thing was secondary. Like, he just really wanted to not go to jail. And once he won, he was like, oh, hell yeah, I might as well take advantage. I'm not going to run again. That's it. I'm just going to fucking win this shit. I actually don't think he's going to run again. I know everyone's worried about it. I don't think he's going to run, not because he respects the Constitution or something. I think he just doesn't have it in him. He's going to make so much fucking money this term.
Something I'll say about Trump. Something that I'll say about Trump and violating the Constitution. I just saw at a gun store the other day, they have these fantastic AR-15 platform pistols. They're great. Like, they're really great. They've got like maybe like a 12, 14-inch barrel on them. They technically have like a pistol grip that has like something that looks like a stock. But don't worry, as long as you don't brace it and press it to your shoulder, it's not a short-barreled rifle, and you don't have to get a level 2 FFL. No, they're great. They're like $600. They're fantastic. I love them. I think everyone should get one, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally disagree with Matt Leck, by the way. I totally disagree with him.
What did he say?
Can I make a comment on that?
Of course. Listen. This show is open. Like, I say my own things on air when I have something to say. There's nothing. I mean, these are people. And same about this goes for me too. If any of you have any feelings about me, disagree, you're allowed to talk your piece on us. It's totally cool. I have nothing against that. However,
okay.
However, you must never be mean to Sam Cedar. No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, Matt Leck said something on the Majority Report saying that, like, for anybody getting the idea this, you know, like, a gun is not a good accessory to a protest. And like, okay, I agree with those words right there, but I don't agree with the idea that we shouldn't be arming ourselves. I think that if you're
I
talking to an
I
audience like, okay, go ahead.
I just on that point, and you brought up everyone should get that before, and I was like, yeah, yeah, sure. I want to add the addendum that like if you want to, like if you're looking, I'm not promote. I personally don't want to promote people. Like if someone not interested in it, I'm not promoting that to them. I'm just saying if you're someone who's interested in getting, getting a firearm, and that's something you want to do, you should go ahead and do it. If that's something you don't want to
Better
do,
to when you can than when you can't.
if that's something you don't want to do though, like then please don't. Like I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying in terms of like all around. I'm saying like I'm supportive of you getting one if you want one. I'm supportive of you not if you don't want one. I just because I don't think people who don't want one should have one.
Well, that's the thing is, like the conversation I have with someone about owning a firearm, it always starts or very closely follows with this. Um, are you absolutely confident that you would feel safe having a firearm in your home? Are you absolutely confident that you would not hurt yourself with a firearm?
That's also
And
the
if
thing
the
too, though.
answer
Like
is yes,
I like listen. Like just having one does lead to these issues. Like it's been studied that people who have these who have thoughts of taking their life, they are less likely to do so if they don't have a firearm handy. So it's difficult because I think if you want one and you want to use one for self defense and you're a responsible owner, you should go ahead and do that. If you're someone who hates guns just because you're morally against them, you should not get one if you don't want one. Same, and I don't think certain people should have them because of the danger they would pose to themselves or to others. So exactly what I said before. If you want one and you check all the boxes for someone who should have one, then go ahead. If you don't want one, or you want one and don't check those boxes, then you should not have one.
well, yeah, yeah, no, I agree with that. The thing that is a little bit tough for me is, like I'm talking to, like some of these people about, and like other queer people are chill with this, but like, I'm talking to like some county level Democrats. Talking to some county level Democrats about like doing a pride cookout. It's not a pride event. It's not like anything where there's like crazy music or anything else like that. It's literally just being at a park, a bunch of gay people doing a cookout and hanging out with each other. And I was saying, oh yeah, if anybody here like knows somebody who's like formerly in the armed services or is in the National Guard or like otherwise has firearm training, we'd greatly appreciate having like 2 or 3 people at an event of 20 or 30 people who have a concealed carry permit. And then I got cut off and people were like, no, 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 let's just.
Oh, you got cut off. That's for sure. You just said your phone got disconnected. It said on my call in app. It said you got disconnected. Please call in again, Ren. Otherwise, folks, 646-303-7337. I'll take the calls as they come in. We went for a while too, Ren. I think we were talking for like close to 20 minutes, right? 615. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hey, you are on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, dude, man, it's so crazy to talk to you, man. I listened to the Majority Report starting in like 2010. Matt, it's so cool to talk to you, dude.
Wow, you're an old
Um,
timer. You remember when I was on the show every day?
yeah, dude, every day, dude, yeah, changed my politics. I was a Rush Limbaugh listener. Like, oh man, it's really cool to talk to you.
That's awesome.
I'm in
Wait,
Tennessee,
so
and I was,
you're from Tennessee, you said?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you said you were a
So,
Rush Limbaugh listener?
oh yeah, I was. So I was just listening to the last person, and I was born in New England, raised in Tennessee, went into the military. My parents were like country club Republicans and everything, but I was in the Air Force for 4 years, and like everything is right coded. And then I was just like, oh, this is just media. And then like I came across, funny enough, Jimmy Dore through Best of the Left, and back when he had like good politics, and then I found you guys through that too. And
That's
then
awesome.
yeah, and so anyways, I was just listening to the last caller. I'm down here in Tennessee. I'm a military veteran, all this stuff, and like I've never been a big gun owner, but like I'm planning on getting one with all of the reservations that you said, stipulations, because it's crazy. It's like down here is not
Right. It
Brooklyn and stuff like that.
I think that's
So
that's another point to raise that I'm not sure Ren or I brought up in the last call. Like, it does matter where you live too, and not necessarily because like,
you don't
the
want to be the last person in a town without one
right,
uh when you're when you have my politics and
right. It's
have a
not
part
something that
have
say
a
I have to worry about living here in New York City, for example.
yeah, but I'm not criticizing you. You said everything right, dude. You had like
Oh, no, no,
absolutely
no, I'm not
agree
even
with everything.
I don't think you are criticizing. I'm just I just didn't even think of the location aspect of it too as another like thing to consider. Like, obviously if you were someone in an area where a lot of people might be armed already, and you live in an area where people have views that, you know, conflict with yours, and you feel like those views can get you in trouble if
Well,
push.
the other thing is that like sometimes you kind of feel a little crazy because like I'm not a big gun person. Like I've shot guns. Like I'm grown up in the South, but I've never been somebody that's like ooh, like some people like watches and cars, and some people like guns. It's like I don't like any of those things, but like in these times, I'm just like, you know what? I'm really thinking about it. And then I'm like, am I crazy? And then I'm like, well, like, no, I'm not that crazy. But at the same time, like, I'm not going out and telling everybody to do it either. So, I haven't even gotten one yet because I'm still debating it. So it's like a real thought that people have for real.
Right.
But, um, I, like, the other, I'm trying to collect my thoughts. I'm a little flustered.
No, the good thing about this show is that, unlike the majority port, for example, I notoriously let my callers go on for way too long. So feel free. Feel free.
All right. So basically, the thing that I've been thinking about lately is since I was in the Air Force and the military, is these purges going on in the military with getting rid of flag officers. I mean, they started with the DEI stuff, and then which was obviously people of color, women. They've just had the ruling from the Supreme Court to take trans people out of the military, and like now they're like, oh well, we're getting rid of you know, what was it like 20% of the flag officers, and we're putting war fighters in charge. Like this is classic authoritarian stuff that has happened like all over the place, man. And it's just like I just don't understand how people don't like. I mean, even like mainstream media is just not like, hey, like this is stuff is like I'm not a historian. I went to college for history. I didn't even finish, and like I know all this stuff. Like this is big red flag stuff, and it's just like I don't understand how people can't put this together in a coherent way to tell other people that might not be in tune to all of this that these steps are happening, from the judiciary to attacking the courts to the law firms to the colleges. It's like they do each as an individual story, and it's infuriating that they can't like put it into one ball and hit people in the face with it. It's just infuriating to me.
Right. I mean, some people just don't care, honestly, or they're outright supportive of it. Like, you know.
Oh no, I know they're supportive of it. I live in the Reich, dude. Trust me.
All right.
There's people there's daytime radio here that I just turn on when I'm riding around. I cut grass for a living. I run my own business, and I listen to like the Majority Report and to podcasts. All this same circles that like you would bump shoulders with. But every once in a while, I turn on Nashville, radio, and they're yucking it up about we're sending totally innocent people to Venezuela, haha. Like it's like literally a laugh point, and I'm just like, this is insanity. It's insanity.
Jeez. I mean,
So
it's not surprising, I guess, but still, it's like to flat out
no,
like hear
dude,
it.
it's still shocking, dude. It shocks me, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
And like there's an appetite for all this stuff, and like I get here, like yeah, nobody would like get that, but like Michigan, Wisconsin, like these are like swing places where there's people that are like, oh, the eggs went up, the eggs went down. It's like nobody's like putting in the Democratic Party is a huge, like, not even a huge problem, like a monumental problem in all of this, because they can't like figure out a message or a messenger, or
I think
how to
they. I
use
think they.
social
I
media or
think part of it
whatever.
is also they. It's not so much they can't straight out like flat out figure out a message. It's just that the obvious messages are things they just honestly just don't really support. Like the things that would be the things
Well,
to
I
get
mean,
behind
dude,
are just things they honestly just don't really support.
dude, I actually, you said that today, and I actually watched something. It was like a little comedy clip of Tim Dillon, who was talking about Slotkin. Have you seen that?
I
Where she
Tim Dillon
criticized?
was talking about Slotkin. Interesting.
Yes, yeah,
What did
yeah.
he
So
say?
he has a clip. He basically said, like, he was like, look, the Democrats are trying to find their identity, and Bernie Sanders and AOC are going out and they're doing all this stuff, and he did the same critique, but he did it very funny. And he was like, oh, well, look, this chick that worked for 2 administrations in the CIA, she worked for Bush, and then she worked for Obama, and then they were like, oh, we just plucked her out. She won a close race, got major funding, and then she comes out and was like, hey, you guys should call it a king and everything else. It's like perfectly noted for like somebody that's like you said, that doesn't care about things, that's not political, or that doesn't like, you know, follow it in a granular way. It's an excellent explanation, and it's very funny, and it's telling about the Democratic Party that they put her up, and he mentions that put her up for the the joint session of Congress and all this stuff.
Right. I
So
mean, they view her
yeah, I
as.
mean
I mean,
they're
they gave her a spot to the Trump response to his not State of the Union thing.
to the joint
Yeah.
session, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
um, they clearly view her as the
I mean,
future of the party. Honestly.
I mean, like he does it in a conspiratorial way. It's like, hey, this is the CIA, and I'm just like, no, it's just like she's just a company person. She's probably always a Democrat, but she's also just like somebody that's always been doing this stuff. I mean, she's not like a spook for the Democrats. Like the spooks aren't Democrats. Like they're right wing. Like this is like that's never been the case.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
mean
very poignant, and like
the reason they support someone like that is because they obviously view uh, uh, that as a position of authority, a respectable position to hold, and that's why they like it. I mean, of course, they're going to have that view. It's just unfortunate that they view that means that equals someone who should be a politician or something like that, which I don't think is accurate at all. Someone who is CIA or FBI is actually not someone who you want as. That's a whole different thing. It's a whole different ball game.
yeah, dude. I've got I, so there's have you? Okay, I'm gonna switch like really big, really quick. Um, have you seen the Texas State Assemblyman that questioned a guy that was putting a bill through with that like cat litter stuff?
Yes,
Did you see that
I
the
did
other
see
day?
that clip. Yes, it is
Dude,
it's a
like
it's a great example of what a politician should do in terms of, um,
yes,
and of course
yes.
I'm
Like
talking
why
about the guy who
we
put.
need to find?
Of course, I'm talking about the guy who put forward the kitty litter bill. I think every politician should come up with find the craziest conspiracy theory they should find, and then submit an official piece of legislation based on that conspiracy theory. Well done. No, I'm joking, obviously. The guy who questioned him and called him out did a very good job of dismantling it and making the guy who put that bill on the table look stupid, honestly.
That's the future of the Democratic Party, and like we've got 4 years. We need an
I
army
think
of
that's
those people.
one. I think that's one aspect. I feel like there are a number of Democrats, not too many, but a few Democrats who are good at calling out Republican bullshit, but then their own politics aren't so great, to be honest. That is so that is
Oh,
one.
I didn't look into that.
Yeah, I don't know about that guy specifically. I'm talking about who's off the top of my head that I can think of that calls out Republicans, but her own their own. I'm thinking of
Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett is a good
Jasmine
example.
Crockett.
Who else? I'm thinking. Oh, she's she's from California, having a mental block. Kate.
Oh, the one that ran for Senate.
Yeah. Another good example of someone who someone in the chat's gonna remind me. She's another good example of someone who has that.
There was the whiteboard lady, the whiteboard, the one
The
from
whiteboard.
that
That's
ran
exactly what I'm
for
talking about.
Senate
The
and lost
whiteboard
the
lady. I'm
shit.
having a mental block right now.
I know, me too. I couldn't think of it either. Yeah.
Right.
Man.
Katie Porter. Thank you, Bay Photo. Katie Porter. Yes.
Yes.
She's
Yes.
another great
Porter.
example of someone who could call out Republicans on their shit, but her own politics ain't so great all the time. So it's definitely an important part. We need someone who could take on Republicans and doesn't pull the whole "we got to work together" bullshit, or even give them the time of the day when they're doing shit like this, like that kitty litter bill. Got to call them out and put them on blast on the spot, and like eviscerate them when they can. But that's not enough. It's not enough.
No, not nearly.
Like that just
Hey, I've
shows
got
me.
two more
That just
quick.
shows me you'll fight for what you believe, but what the fuck do you believe? Because I might not want you fighting
That's
for that
true.
either. You know. You know.
That's true. Hey, I've got two quick ones, and I'll let some other people come on. So, first one is I am not a centrist or center right person, but I followed the Bulwark. Tim Miller. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, he's pretty good on Twitter.
No,
He's pretty good at calling out Republicans.
as far as where his politics were, like he's been pretty radicalized. There's another guy on there.
I gotta say, a lot of
They call him JVL. It's like three names.
a lot of normie libs got like radicalized by Trump. Honestly, like
dude. Well, no, like Tim Miller was like a Romney Repub, and like he's I'm like there's some good trajectory there, and with him being the main person on that thing, and like he's taking like that center right further to the left. I really like that. Like I would like somebody like Sam Cedar or for you to like try and reach out to those people. Like, it's not like giving you an ultimatum or anything. I'm just saying like, hey, these people are like, edging further to the left, and they have an audience that is like eating it up. And like I'm just like some of the shit they listen to, it's cringe, and you're just like, what the fuck? But I mean, like, dude, they're hitting stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck did they just say? But it's like normie stuff. I listen to all of it, and I'm just like, dude, we need to be reaching and pulling from that way, and not just trying to push. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, water's good over here, so that's just a thought. And what was the other thing? I might have just lost my thought. Oh no, the other thing was you and Michael Brooks particularly. I loved your show together. I really did.
I appreciate that. I missed that Matt and Mike Mondays. That was good times.
Yeah, and you know what? At first I hated it because it was like a switch up, but you guys really like grew a thing. And when he passed, like that was like the only like what was it, psychosocial relationship or whatever, like
Parasocial.
really bummed me out. And like yeah, parasocial.
No,
And
I
but
think I think
like
I
you
don't.
were a part of that, and
I,
like and you actually changed my mind on like a lot of things, and I still listen to you all the time. I just want to tell you I appreciate both of you for that.
I really appreciate that. It really does mean a lot, especially coming from someone who, who has been watching the show, the majority board, for as long as you have, and know the work that, because unfortunately, like I feel like the majority report blew up obviously during like a lot of political shows did during the 2016 election season.
Dude, you were talking about Gamergate, and Sam was telling you to shut up,
No, it was actually
and
Michael who was
Steve
telling
Bannon
me to stop
got
talking
him
about it
elected.
because no one cared.
Are you serious? That was Michael?
he actually he actually had to apologize to me years later, and he mentioned how wrong he was and how I was on top of that, and,
Oh
and I
damn!
called it for
I thought that was Sam. That was like, what are you talking about? It was you and
no.
Michael. Oh, dude, you were like, hey, we got to keep an eye on this.
Apparently Sam has spoken about it on the show about how like I would talk about it and like he would be like in his head or whatever, like, why are we covering this? Like, what does this have to do with anything politics or
Dude,
that's
that
good.
was
But he let me talk about it. And when we did the show, he never told me I couldn't talk about anything. It was, we had full content control when it was the Matt and Mike Mondays. And obviously when we were doing the show with Sam hosting, we sent him whatever we thought was relevant too. There was no, there was no,
Oh no, I don't. I know. I'm not saying that you guys are getting whipped by Sam. Like, dude, with those puny arms, dude. Come on. it's like that's like Chuck Schumer being like, "We will win."
we will
No,
win.
no, like he's not gonna beat you up.
Wait, whose puny arms are you talking about?
Hey,
To be honest, I'm not sure which which one of us.
so wait, so I've got one more question,
Yeah,
or
go
like
ahead.
just I want you to elaborate on this. Like with Gamergate, like you were watching all that stuff because like you have a tech focus, and like you're in that world, like you were noticing it. Like, were you like super alarmed, or were you just like like
I
how did that like fit into like what you were thinking, like
so I
this is a problem or this is something we should watch? Because
right.
I remember hearing that and just being like, I don't know, I'm not a gamer, I don't know anything about it, but like you look back on it and it's like it shaped like our entire politics.
Right. So I had been covering the men's rights movement before that. And that was interesting to me because it was sort of like it was growing. And honestly, like the men's rights movement, when I thought we were at like concerning like levels, looks like honestly, it looks like a single kernel of corn at the bottom of a giant popcorn bucket when we look at what happened with the manosphere and like people like Andrew Tate and those guys. I could not have dreamed it would get to this point where it's an actual like exit like it's a threat to society. Like it really is now.
Yeah,
It's
but
no longer
you
like
saw
this.
it though, dude.
I,
You got to give
I I
yourself
can't
more
take credit
credit,
for
man.
that.
You
I could
saw
not
that,
have
dude.
see. I did not see Andrew Tate and the
Yeah,
like.
but you look, I give you more credit because like not that you would predict everything that happened, but like you saw a thing and you're like, that is something we should pay attention to, and
Right.
you're fucking right. You're right.
Right. I appreciate that. But so that is what caught my attention first. And then then Gamergate happened and I was following along like the weekend it started, I remember. And I was like, this feels a lot like the same sort of tack cuz remember at the very beginning, they weren't even pretending with the this is about integrity
Female creators,
in
yeah.
game journalism. They weren't. This was literally, and a lot of young people still don't know this about this.
It was
But
just about smaller boobs and stuff, right?
no, it wasn't even that. Gamergate started because a bunch of fucking misogynist redditors got pissed that a female developer created a text based game that got put on a list of like the 100 games to watch or something like that. And so the entire thing started as a like we were talking earlier about Hassan and Ethan Klein, and how Ethan Klein turns the whole thing into a personal issue that he has with Hassan, and not so much about the politics of anything. This is actually like it's sort of like that in a way, I guess. This was a personal
But if you
attack
think about it, but
from a bunch of misogynists against a woman for getting recognition in the gaming world. And then on top of that, her ex-boyfriend put out this like insane manifesto at the time that basically like claimed that she cheated on him, and that the reason she got on that list was because she had relations with
oh shit.
the author of the piece or whatever. Just personal bullshit that wasn't even factual or whatever. And so this was an entire thing that started as an attack on this woman. And then once they realized that that this was getting legs, the people behind it were like, we need to have like a broader like ideological like rally cry. It can't be about our fucking misogynistic personal gripes with this one woman.
Yeah, dude, I didn't, dude. That flushes pretty good. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that part of it. But
Yeah,
like,
and
yeah, I mean,
not to also
I
forget
mean,
that Anita Sarkeesian had just like
well,
fundraised for her feminist like analysis show of the video gaming, like of gaming, and it raised a lot of money, which pissed off a lot of these same misogynist gamers. So it all like was the perfect sort of tornado, like two different tornadoes crashing into each other to create this like ultimate like superstorm.
so this is another thing. Is like I got off of Twitter. I've been on Facebook for years, and like, dude, the most like, I mean, I curate my stuff, and like my main social media thing is Reddit, and it's the most like wholesome thing
Reddit's
compared to
changed a
Twitter.
lot.
I've been on Twitter for
Reddit's definitely mellowed out. I think like
it kind of shocked me that you said it started on Reddit, because that
no
sounds like 4chan shit, and I'm
Reddit used to
like,
be yeah,
I've never even looked. I've never even dared to look at that.
Reddit used to be really bad. It used to be 4chan shit. It used to be the horrible people that are now
Twitter.
on Elon Musk's X that weren't allowed on Twitter prior to Elon. A lot of those people were there. This Reddit. I mean, don't forget Reddit had to, like Reddit was so bad that the actual like company had to step in and shut down certain subreddits. Like the whole like
Oh, that's when they did Chapo. They did Chapo and like as like a mutual strike against
I
other
know that one
people.
got
Is
shut
that when that
down.
happened?
I don't remember why, but that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm referring to like, for example, right now, like a bill just passed in Congress that's going to Trump for him to sign, a bipartisan bill, the Take It Down Act, which basically gives platforms a 48-hour time limit to remove non-consensual deepfake porn from their platforms once they receive the complaint. And on top of that,
That's good.
yeah, it is good. But on top of that, the bill also criminalizes the creation of this content for people who do this, and that's also good, I think. I've heard some
Yeah,
concern.
that's excellent.
I have heard some concerns about the bill from like the EFF and how it could be used for overreach, and I absolutely agree with those concerns. And the bill should have been that those concerns should have been addressed in the bill. But like overall, I do think it's from my understanding, it's this needed to be handled in some way. I just wish it was handled a bit better. But don't forget, like Reddit had a subreddit that was literally just for people posting non-consensual deepfake porn of celebrities, inserting celebrities into pornographic films. And then, of course,
Like recently?
this was like in 2017. There was a huge subreddit.
Oh, dude,
Reddit,
I've only like I have my 2 year like I've
right?
been on Reddit
And
for
then
2 years, and I was addicted to Twitter.
Reddit had to step in and shut it down after. And then even before that, in like the early 2010s, there was a popular subreddit called Jailbait, and it was literally pictures of non-legal girls in compromising and not
Jesus Christ.
we're not even talking about just celebrities. We're talking about like fucking creeper ass shots, like just in public. It was
Oh yeah,
bad.
well, like I get it.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it back then. I'm feeling bad about being on Reddit now, dude.
Reddit, no, Reddit changed. Reddit got their shit together.
Well,
Reddit,
that's good. My girl got me off of Twitter. She was like, it is toxic. It is killing you. So I was just like, I was infuriated all the time. And I was like, then I was just like, oh, I'll try this. And I was like, oh, it's difficult. You know, like, you get the things that you like, news, and you can find like people on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. And it really de-stressed me getting away from Twitter X,
no,
like
I
whatever the fuck.
totally
But
listen.
like it was just
I'm still on there because I think you need to use platforms however you
well,
can.
you do, yeah, dude. That's I totally agree that like you're doing God's work on Hill's
No, no,
platform,
I
dude.
appreciate
Don't
that, but
worry about it.
I think no, but in general, I'm like I don't like unless the platform is explicitly made for like I'm not going to be hanging out on Gab, for example, because that's a platform literally for you know open white supremacists. That's what it was made
Yeah.
for. It's not like it became that, and there's like hundreds of millions of people who are not that on there, like X. If everyone left X, it'd be really easy
Oh,
to get off there, but it's just not the case. A lot of even non-political, a lot of non-political people are on there too. And I think like if this is something you care about in terms of like spreading your
hey,
message, you should be on all these platforms. But point of
yeah.
the story,
I just don't.
Reddit used to
I
be
don't.
bad, and now it's definitely cleaned up its act a lot.
Yeah, I just don't feel like I have any reach in like spreading my message. I just feel like fighting with people and stuff. So
Hey, fighting
one
people's
other
good too.
thing. Yeah, it is, but it was killing me, dude. It was killing me. But so speaking of far right and like people monitoring and stuff, Will Summer is a contributor at the Bulwark. Like I said,
Will
not my
Summer's great. He's
politics
been on
and
the show
everything else,
before.
but I'm like, dude, he's on there and he's like on the Laura Loomer beat and like Steve Bannon and all this stuff. Like it's like I really do feel like it is not my politics overall. They are doing good work, like focusing on a lot of the excesses and the bad shit that's happening. You know,
Hey,
there's a lot of James
I
Carville
think
bullshit.
good. There could be good work in any publication, even I usually view it as like, listen, sometimes reporters, journalists, writers, they need to take they need to pitch these different outlets, and whatever outlet picks up their pitch,
No, I
as long as
no,
they
I
don't
think it.
as
No,
long as
I
they don't
think it.
have editorial control of what that writer's message is what they want to get across, or what the purpose of their reporting is, then I think any outlet is capable of good work because every reporter is not necessarily beholden to the ideological
No,
bent of
no,
that
no, no. I'm
publication.
not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that that's a good thing. So like something that is like like would usually be considered like I think most of their stuff is center,
Right.
but they have people on there that are center left, and like I'm watching it as somebody that's from you know further left, and I'm just watching this evolve, and it's going by watching the right go farther and farther. I'm watching things happen where they are progressing closer and not not staying in place, and I'm just like that's a good sign to me. Like I'm an information junkie, I'm a news junkie. They put out a lot of content. Of course, I'm listening to Majority Report. I follow your stuff. I love Scam Economy. I love Doomed, Chapo, all that stuff. But I mean, like, I watch these people, and you can see wheels turning in the right direction, and that's one thing that like makes me a little positive. But like most of the time, I'm just like, oh, dude, we're done, we're cooked. But then sometimes you see these people that were Bush Republicans, they're like, we should apologize to the people that said abolish ICE. And you're like, wait, what? What did you just say? You had a 15-minute thing with Bill Kristol where he was apologizing about the shit. I'm like, that's fucking wild, dude. It's wild.
Yeah. Great call.
Yeah,
What was your name again?
Brian in Tennessee, dude.
Brian in Tennessee. Oh, by the way, what you just said at the end there, I want to address that too. It has been amazing to see someone like Bill Crystal become like radicalized and like see takes from like, oh my God, I agree. He's calling out the right thing. It's amazing. But Brian from Tennessee, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk with you. Please feel free to call in anytime. This was fantastic. And have a great night.
Bro, the
No, go ahead.
bro, the pleasure is all mine, dude. I'm a big fan, and I love, your whole cinematic universe. You know what I mean?
Oh, we should make that official. I should like set up a visual, like
The
like how
the majority, well, dude, Thanos, and Sam, and
right. Oh, no, I'm not even talking
Emma,
about the
and
visual, like
everybody.
inserting me in a movie. I'm talking about like how Disney every year they put up like that like phase
Oh yeah,
timeline
the
of the
big,
Marvel movies that are. I should make like one
yeah,
of
yeah.
those, but with all the shows and everything I'm on.
And then Sam can put it on a tank T. That would be great.
Right, right. That's really funny. All right, man. Have a great night.
All right, dude. It's great to talk to you. Peace.
Take care. All right. Wow, this has been a really great show. I'm really enjoying these calls. What time? Jeez, time just flies by. Already an hour in. Yeah, we'll do a few more calls. I got to read the super chat. So call in 646 Oh, we got more calls coming in right now. 217. What's your name? Where are you calling from? 217. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, you were on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Matt. I'd like to stay anonymous.
Oh, yeah, that's totally cool. What's up? What would you have to talk about?
So I'm a person that works in healthcare, and
Okay.
I am trying to kind of find a way that we function within how our society is, and because like you can't just go on strike, you know.
Right. I
I mean
mean,
that's pretty much.
I
I
guess
just kind of want your.
I mean, you can. I mean, it would have to be in like shifts. Like you couldn't go on like a full blown strike. I'm sure they've been these sort of strikes before, especially with like the nurses union. I'm pretty sure. Um, but I see what you're saying. What's your as someone who works in healthcare? I mean, I know some of the issues at
I
the med.
worry. I really.
But yeah, what are your like you have the personal experience I don't have. So what is your
I really worry
concerns
about the rural areas in particular.
with like the incoming cuts and everything?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Do you, this might be asking too much. Feel free to say you don't want to answer this, but do you have firsthand experience with working in rural areas in healthcare?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you would know way better than
I mean, I work both in rural and urban, and I
right.
think that's kind of my point is like that's
What do you what do
these cuts are really.
what do you foresee happening? Like, obviously, you have a personal view that others who have not, even people who have worked in healthcare but haven't specifically worked in these areas of the country, they probably don't even have this. So, as someone who's worked in rural areas in the healthcare, what do you foresee happening?
I think people are just going to die.
Can you get like more specific though in terms of like what are the cuts going to do specifically? Like what's going to be removed? What does that mean for people who access it? Are you saying they won't be able to get to the hospital, or when they're in the hospital, will they be able to see a doctor but there's not going to be the treatment available for them, or they won't even be able to see a doctor? Like what give me some details if you can about what you see
Okay,
happening.
that's fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a combination of all of those things. I think some people just won't go to the hospital at all, and there's going to be, another third of people who do go to the hospital and they're bankrupt for that, and there's going to be the ones that don't get adequate care and adequate care.
Right.
And I don't. it's a very complicated issue, and I guess that's kind of why I called you about it, because I don't really know how we proceed in this with
I do think like
what we have.
if things go forward, which unless there is pushback from um, Republicans in Congress, which there could be, and not because they all of a sudden have like moral clarity and wake up and say this is wrong, but because they're worried about getting reelected when the time comes. Um, I think there will be damage, and that damage caused will affect people's lives and probably take a number of lives,
Well, and disproportionately in rural communities.
and disproportionately
I
in
think
rural
that needs
communities,
to be.
right? Yes. And um question is, will they realize, like, will the work be done, like once the work is done to try to stop it, and that work is done because it fails, and hopefully it doesn't, but let's say it does. um will people put in the work to
Restore where we were
help
at the
people
very least.
understand what's going on, like help people understand why this is happening, because I think that's a major
Okay.
factor too. Like I wonder how we
Can
got
I
here.
say something?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, well, and it's like you can talk to any healthcare worker. I mean, that is the most critical person of our healthcare system, is
Right.
anybody that works in healthcare. It's ridiculous.
Well, a huge problem with that too is that we are in a place right now where a large, I don't want to say large as in the majority or close to majority or even half, but a substantial number of people don't respect medical professionals and their knowledge. And they think they can just go online and do the research themselves and be just as informed and knowledgeable and have the same wisdom that a medical professional has. And I don't know how we fix that issue,
I
honestly.
see what you're saying.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I know. I know what you're
yeah,
talking about.
like there are gonna be people in rural places who die, and the families will have all the legitimate explanations in the world in terms of like how
I've
cuts
literally seen it myself
or
with
resources.
COVID. I've
Right,
literally seen it myself.
that's what happened, right? They'll have all the legitimate reasons for why this happened, whether it be it's strictly medical, or whether there were political or policy issues involved, or whether there was a number of different factors involved, and they'll have all this information, and it won't matter because who will be blamed? The doctors. That's just how it
Hmm.
works with some people. You just can't get through to them. The question is, how many are there? And can
How do
we?
we change that, though?
I don't know. It's something I
I don't
really,
either. That's why I called in.
I
It's
wish
really
I
complicated.
wish it is like, I remember doing this show just a few years ago, like even just like right before COVID. And like, to me, and this is when the show was strictly like sort of focused on reactionary groups, white supremacy groups, neo-Nazis, and I would have,
Well, and that's the mainstream now.
right. And I would have people call
So
in though, and share that, like, oh, my family member got involved with this, my family got member got involved with that. What could I do? And like obviously the process isn't easy, but what needed to be done to get people out, and it has been done before, is you just have to like get through to these people to the point where they want to hear. Like, you can't just, here's the other side, or here's what's really going. You have to get them to the point where they want to at least be open to it. And then you got to sort of like break them out of like the fact that like these are people who are preying on you, and they're not solving the problems that you have, and in fact they're just making things worse for you by giving you a scapegoat who has nothing to do with the problem. And like, these are like some ways to get through to people. That is no longer something that works, because
because
people
people
don't
don't
want to do
respect
that
power
first step.
structures at all.
People don't want to do that first step of like even considering something they could be wrong, or that there's another viewpoint. um I honestly think, and I'm not saying this is what I want, obviously, but it's to me, it's the thing that will happen, is that the time has to pass, and the generations that were susceptible to this and were susceptible to this just have to die off. I'm not saying I want them to die. I'm just saying, just even if it's just naturally, I'm talking about, time has to pass, and
Well, I'm also worried about, I mean, the children with
of
how
course,
AI is affecting
I I
education.
I think parents should. I think it's over for Gen Z.
And I should,
I think
by the way, I should default to you for this because you're a parent and
Yeah,
I'm not.
I think it's over for Gen Z. I'm seeing so much shit. I'm reading all this shit about how they're just and this is all anecdotal, obviously, because these are interviews, but article after article talking to Gen Zer Greg from New York, and then Gen Zer Emily from Arkansas, and then Gen Zer Bob from Toronto, and then it's all over the place. They cannot function without fucking asking a chatbot to give them the answer. This is obviously not all Gen Zers, but there is a significant amount of them.
Technically, I'm a Gen Zer. I'm a very old Gen Zer. I'm like
Right.
28 now.
Right. So you were born in what, 96?
97.
97.
Early
Yeah, so you're an
97.
old Gen Zer. Yeah, you're the first.
And it's just like, I don't
I think you're
stuck
the first.
between two people that hate each other.
No, I think you're right. I said 96. I don't know why, because 96 is the last year for millennials. 97 is technically the beginning of Gen Z, although I've heard that, some people born in 96 feel more in tune with Gen Z.
Well, like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I mean, I think the generational lines aren't obviously like clear cut, but I also think there is obvious trends that they do follow. And I do think there's a generation of people, it doesn't necessarily have to be people born in that time period, but a generation of young people who I don't know what to do with them. And I think kids who have not yet gotten old enough to the point where they can just log on to Chat GPT themselves, like my son is going to be 10. He has never seen a AI chat bot. He is not going to. I'm going to make him understand what it is and everything. And under my supervision, I'm going to show him what I feel like. Just denying them of it will make them want to oh, this must be something like it's the forbidden fruit. But you need to lay out what it is and what it actually does, and how it's not a brain. It can't think. It's fucking just regurgitating shit that it reads, that you feed it. And, sometimes it'll pull out some good stuff, but you have to double check it, because a lot of times it's not going to pull out the good stuff, and it's going to give you the wrong stuff. I think they need to
just make shit up.
Yeah. I think people who are worried about this need to start now with the kids who have not yet used it, and make them understand what it is. Not like treat it like something that's the forbidden fruit. Like I said, oh, you cannot go here. Then
no, I understand.
Yeah.
It's a tool, and it should be taught to be used as a tool before it is given as a tool.
Right, and you need to explain to them the hype around it and how that hype is wrong. And there's people who want to make my son is just starting to understand. He was a big fan of Tesla a number of years ago, before Musk went crazy. He thinks and a lot of kids are, obviously. They think Teslas are cool because they're created to be cool.
That's not unreasonable.
Right, and he thought Teslas were awesome, and he wanted a Tesla, and that I had to explain to him that was never going to happen, because we couldn't afford a Tesla, and we never will afford a Tesla. But as he got older, he understood more, and it did help that his dad got very famously banned off of Twitter by Elon Musk personally, for him to understand that, I can still think Teslas are cool, but supporting Tesla is supporting a bad guy like Elon Musk, and I don't want to do that. He still gets excited when he sees a Tesla. Where do you
draw that line, especially with children?
Right. I mean, he still gets excited when he sees Teslas, and I don't stop him. I think it's totally cool that he thinks Teslas are cool. Even when he sees a Cybertruck, he thinks Cybertrucks are cool. I have no problem with that. But he needs to know the reality of the guy behind Tesla. And he does. And he thinks Elon Musk is a bad person because of what Elon Musk says and does to people. And he still thinks Teslas are cool. I think that's totally fine and reasonable. And I think kids,
you're a great father.
Kids should understand that things aren't so clear cut sometimes. Sometimes there's gray area. Sometimes a bad person can be behind something that's cool. You need to decide, you can still think it's cool, but you need to also decide whether you can support that guy by buying that cool thing. Now, I don't think he's going to buy a Tesla when he grows up, but who knows? I hope I've done well.
Well, I'll reiterate. I think that you at least from what it sounds like, is you're a great father.
Like he is interested in politics. Like his teacher tells me when there's like the parent teacher conferences that like social
Never mind,
study,
you're a bad. No, I
but like
think.
social studies is his favorite topic, and how they'll be talking about the lesson and in history and everything. And my son will bring up current events and how it relates to like because he's very interested. Like he was super interested in the election. I had to update him of what was going
How
on.
old is he right now?
He's going to be 10 in July.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, okay. He's a
right.
lot older than I thought he was.
Right. Now I'm not I don't I'm not always successful. For example, in 2020, he knew I was a big fan of Bernie Sanders, and so for some reason he thought it would be very funny to support Joe Biden. Just because it rankled my feathers, I think. So I don't always succeed.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes, I don't always succeed.
Oh, well, I'm not sorry.
But
I mean,
I
that
mean,
was.
he was 4 years younger, so 6-year-old him thought it was funny to root for Joe Biden specifically because he knew that I liked Bernie Sanders, but he understood that it was down to Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. So that's part of it. I get it. But at the same time,
What was his reasoning?
at the same time
I'm just curious.
he thinks Donald Trump is a bad guy, and I don't say like Donald Trump is a bad man. Like I don't let him like brainwash him. He simply because he was interested. He was like, tell me about Donald Trump. Why do people like Donald Trump? Why do people not like Donald Trump? And I explained to him what Donald Trump believes and what he thinks. And because, the things he
Hmm.
believes are things that my son doesn't agree with either from the way he was raised, he doesn't like Donald Trump. And, he told me in class before the election, the teacher did raise your hand if you support Trump, and then raise your hand if you support Kamala. And he told me that most kids in his class raised their hand for Trump, and that he and maybe like 2 other kids raised their hand for
That's
Kamala.
terrifying.
And he didn't let that change his opinion. The fact that his peers were, and I don't think it's those kids necessarily at that age. I think it's more so
No, I
like
think
your
it's their
parents.
parents.
Yeah, the parents. But he didn't waver from it because his other friends disagreed with him. So I think hopefully some of us are doing a good job. That's all.
I'd just like to close out this conversation with one last point. Is that okay?
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, I'm like in that weird between millennial and Gen Z era, and so my entire existence was Iraq War, recession, and then going straight into uh, Donald Trump, and then COVID, and then now we have another recession that's probably coming. And it's like I don't. It's a very weird experience, and I feel like it's not being talked about, and it should be talked about.
Right. Right. Well, do you want to mention a point or two right here off the bat while you're, you have the line?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Do you want to address something right here about it right now off the bat so we could talk about it a little bit, just so that we even jumpstart a short conversation?
I mean, do you want to be? I mean, we can keep talking if you want. I feel like I'm kind of hogging the mic though.
You want to just bring up one thing about this, and we could take like a minute or two on it, and then we could move on. Just because I feel like you brought it up, it makes sense to just address it really quick.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. So I have an engineering degree that I got and graduated in 2019, right before COVID, and I ended up doing manual labor for about a year and a half, and I paid off all of my debt. And then I'm now working in healthcare, and I'm like trying to decide between going into nursing
Going as a what?
or
I'm sorry, I
med
missed that last.
school.
What was that last thing you said?
I'm looking at going into like nursing
Right.
or med school, and I just don't feel comfortable going into med school at this point.
Right. Right. Because of the cost?
Yeah,
Right. You said you went for
specifically
engineering,
because
right?
of the
You said you went for engineering, the school for engineering?
Yeah.
What made you want to? I'm not criticizing it. Obviously, people change what they want to do all the time. And that's totally cool. I just wondering for you personally, what made you want to switch?
Um, I mean, it's more of a practical decision, I guess.
You think?
Well, I mean,
Are you
there's
talking about?
also a part of
Are you talking about? What kind of engineering are you talking about?
physics.
Oh, okay, okay. I was thinking like
We're not
I was thinking
hiring physicists during COVID.
right. I was thinking like computer engineering, which if so, that's not the issue. In fact, that's probably the it's probably
Well,
the
they're being replaced by AI now.
that's what they say. Yet you still hear all these stories about people getting hired by the big tech companies for ridiculous sums of money. I think there'll be limits to that, obviously, but yeah,
Okay.
that's definitely an issue. I think you're right there too. Yeah, I mean,
I
eventually,
guess my main point, can I
yeah, please.
interject? I guess my main point is like we have a severe shortage of healthcare workers, and we set up so many unnecessary barriers, and it really is literally killing us as a
Oh,
country.
absolutely. I mean, at some point, we're gonna have to decide to if we care so much about helping people in terms of health, we're gonna need to start subsidizing people going to medical
Well, when
school
we save money on that, I mean, we save
fully,
money on spending in public
fully.
health,
Right,
and people just don't understand that.
right. I mean, there will always be very dumb people. There's nothing we could do about that. The problem with our time period right now is that somehow, some way, those people got put in charge and were given power. And I don't
And
know
this
what to
is
do about that.
why
If
we
people,
need people like you, Matt.
dude, you're being too,
Prevent
you're
it.
being too. I'm
Prevent it,
not that
please.
smart. I'm not. Please, please don't put that on me. I am. I am when it comes to medical stuff, I am completely checked out. It's not my I could never be a doctor. I have total respect for people like you who go into that field. It is something I don't
Well,
I don't
and
I
this
don't
is
I don't
why I
even care.
called you, is because I want to give you that perspective.
Right. No, I think that's great. I think people like I'm someone who's so checked out. Like I can't even look at like a health app to like be bothered to understand like my own health stats or whatever. It is something that is so completely disinteresting to me. It's something that I put into full
Well, you have
trust
kids.
of.
I mean, that should that's like your main focus, I would think.
What did you say? What was that? I'm sorry. Hello.
Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. You cut out for a second. What were you saying?
Oh, I said, well, you have kids. I would think
Well,
that would be your first
not for my
thought, but
kids. For my kids, it's different. For my kids, I'm like at the doctor's office writing down every little stat the doctor gives me. I'm talking about for myself because it's not something that really interests me. Uh, but at the same point, I'm not someone who's like, "Hey, doc, I know what's the best." I'm someone who's like, "Doctor, you tell me what I need to
hmm
do, and I will do it. You're the expert here, not me. If you think I should do this, I mean, right now I'm very lucky. I'm the last time I went to the doctor, which you remind me now I should probably go to the doctor soon. It's been a little while, but last time I went to the
get a
doctor,
colonoscopy.
I'm completely health. I'm in good health, and I've always been, thankfully. Knock on wood. I've
Okay,
been very lucky.
awesome.
I don't have any issues. I take no medic.
Everyone in chat needs to get a colonoscopy if they can.
Yes, I need to do that. Although I am very scared of it. Um, I have no health issues. I'm on no medication. I've never been to the hospital for myself. I've been very lucky in that regard. Again, knock on wood. But as I get older, obviously, I'm gonna have to start caring a bit more, I guess.
Yeah, I have to get a colonoscopy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
Anyways, it was wonderful talking with you, Matt.
I really appreciate it. It was
I'm
great
glad we
talking
had
with
this
you too.
conversation.
I'm
I
happy
thought
too.
it
Feel
was
free to call in
productive.
anytime. It was great. Yes, absolutely productive. Take care.
Left is best. Rest in peace, Michael.
Yeah, that's right. Left is
Good night.
best. R.I.P. Michael. Absolutely. Great calls tonight. Really been like a streak of great calls. Truly. I mean, usually I get great calls, but sometimes they're more like just like shooting the shit type calls. Sometimes interject with these great calls. This has been an episode full back to back to back great calls. All right, I'll take one more call. 308. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello, you are on the
Bonjour.
hey 308. What's up?
Hey, it's your local
Kowalski.
farmer in Nebraska who's going mad planting.
How you doing, Kowalski? What's up?
Well, I was very intrigued by your last caller with the whole rural hospital thing,
And
and
you are
figured I
Mr. Rural,
what?
right? And you are Mr. Rural over here, at least in these parts.
Yeah, I live out where the cows roam as God intended, unlike you guys who decided to defy God
Right.
and live in major metropolitan centers.
Right. And we live we who are we to build these large buildings? If God wanted there to be 80-story, 100-story buildings, he would have built them himself.
Well, I mean, there was the whole Tower of Babel where you guys, we tried building tall skyscrapers, and then God said no, gave us a bunch of different languages, and then scattered us like sticks in the wind for some reason. So clearly, New York City is like
The
the
devil's
manifestation
right.
of the antithesis of what God would want.
Absolutely.
So
We're the devil's
yeah,
playground. We
and
are the Lord's least favorite place. What is it that that country music guy in SNL said? Get me back to God's country when he was done over here. Yep, that's right.
um, but going a little bit off of the whole like you guys are fortunate because your big cities attract a lot of people, and then you can have things like proper health care and entertainment and services, which is really lovely, and I'm sure nice to know that like, oh, I'm having a stroke, I can be at a hospital in 15 minutes.
That is
Yeah,
true.
you could go bankrupt doing it, but I mean, you won't die, which I hear is a plus. Although, given the current state of the world, I'm not sure. That's kind of a threat at this point. But there's a lot of multifaceted problems with basically losing rural hospitals. It's kind of like when we lose a rural school. These like basic pillars of the community kind of just like shatter the local community, and it basically can't recover. A lot of people do not fully appreciate how like most towns were built with a plan. Like um I guess especially out here where it was like a direct colonization effort, like there was investments made, people built a bunch of housing, we knew immigrants would be coming in and establishing things like the post office, the tailor, the tannery, the blacksmith. Like everybody had a bunch of roles, and the population was just going to be the surrounding farmer base. But on the countryside, pretty much the entire service sector has collapsed. We basically only have farming, which the profits in it are very limited, and you can't really finance a lot of those things. So when you lose a hospital, which is usually state subsidized, the local community then loses an economic like engine. So it's just one of those things that will like permanently kill a small town. And then
Right.
you lose the ability to retire there. That's actually something that's impacting my hometown. We have very high housing prices now and rent. It hit probably 2 or 3 years later than what like most of the major cities were, but it's because you can't retire out in the countryside anymore, or even in the small town. Heart attack, you fall or something, you'll be in pain until the helicopter can get you from there to an actual bigger town. I'm lucky. I live next to a town of 55,000 people. We can support a hospital. But the guys north of us, 50, 60 miles, you can't live there if you're old. And rural populations are notoriously old because you also can't hold on to the youth. So I think it is safe to say that without a massive federal program, rural America is probably done, which is a really weird thing to think because, like,
You are in rural
that has
America.
basically never. Well, historically speaking, this isn't something that we've ever dealt with before. Like other countries are going through the same motions as us. Like you could say Japan got there 20 or 30 years ago. They haven't figured that out. And I mean, what do you do when you don't have a rural population to pull from for the bulk of your blue collar workers? Because that's another point with the education thing. The chat GBT, really bad. It's going to harm a lot of young people's critical thinking skills, which in hindsight was a bit more important than I think a lot of us initially thought because we always just took it for granted. But I
People
mean,
using their own brains. Yes, we did actually take that for granted.
how the hell were we supposed to know that technology would basically prevent people from using executive functions?
You know what
Like
this
that's insane
the
to
thing
me.
is too, like even in the dystopian, like sort of like fiction works of fiction, whether it be a book or a movie or a TV show, in the scenarios where this happened, the computer was always hyper intelligent. Like we got replaced by really smart computers, and they're so smart and that they outdid us. We're in even a worse
Yeah, no, the
scenario
the computer's
where
dumber than our like
yeah,
lowest
we've
common
been replaced
denominator.
by the dumbest fucking mind imaginable put in a computer. Like the biggest fucking moron you could ever think of, who doesn't even understand basic shit. It's been put in a computer, and that's the computer that's taken over. Yes, it is the worst case scenario.
You know,
It makes me
and
actually wish we got taken over by like Skynet, hyper intelligent world.
well, I mean, at this point, we might want to be rooting for the solar flare to take us back to mid 1990s technology, because apparently the Matrix was right. The 1990s was the best time to be alive. The technology was just good enough that things were comfortable, but not so advanced it was completely destroying us
Yeah,
socially.
I
And the
miss.
music was pretty
I,
decent.
I I don't remember much of it because I was the oldest. I was in 2020. I believe I was 12 or 13. So I do remember, no, maybe 13 or 14 actually. So I do remember a number of things. I don't, but it's not like in the top of my memory. But from what I do recall, the 90s was, again, not perfect, but a good time period. Um, Anything pre September 11th, honestly, 2000 and most of 2001 wasn't half as bad either, you know?
But on the actually on that education part, now this is me using my millennial critical thinking skills since apparently we're the last generation with it. I'm gonna presume that you've read 1984, right?
Yes. It's been a long time, but yes.
So, so one of the points of in the book is that Oceana is developing a thing called Newspeak. Newspeak is
Right.
supposed to reduce the number of words in our vocabulary because if you do not have a word to express something, you're less likely to rebel over that. If you don't understand what oppression is, and
Then you don't know you're being
it's
oppressed,
different.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know you're being oppressed. Well, if you can't think critically and you're relying on an AI device to do your thinking for you, you basically become a drone to whomever is controlling that uh, search engine or AI bot or whatever it is. They would basically be able to direct a significant proportion of the population's ability to think. And you would basically imprison them without them knowing. And that is horrifying.
Right.
It's like, it is actually worse than living in a theocracy. Because at
Yeah.
least in a theocracy, you could think in private, but this is worse than that.
Right. And eventually there'll probably be a revolt or something because people will think, and enough of thinking people will get together and do something. That's not gonna happen under this.
No, but the worst part is if those people who are critically thinking do not have good intentions, this is something that they could easily manipulate to do whatever nefarious thing they
Right.
want. Like despite like
I
how much we despise him, Elon Musk can do some critical thinking and he absolutely hates humanity. So like
right.
well, I mean, he doesn't care if people live or die. I mean, he disowned his own daughter. Like
I
Normal humans don't do that.
I personally just don't get it. Like I have used AI because I'm a tech reporter. I have to look into these things, and there are use cases I've heard of where I'm not privy to the. I understand that for software developers, it is very helpful in completing mundane tasks very quickly. I get that. Um, but like in terms of AI that I've used, like the only one that I've thought was actually helpful was again like a mundane task. The creative version, I guess, of what software developers use it for. Those platforms where you like upload a long video and the AI basically cuts it up for you into like social media clips. Because that's just a mundane task. Like it's not creative
Yeah, but
work.
here's the bias that you are using that you might not even be thinking about, though. You understand what the AI is doing and why and the benefits.
Right.
You're
Right.
basically advanced brush.
Right.
There are people right now using that don't understand how it is doing what it is doing, and that is frightening.
Right.
I
Like
mean,
like when I like when I
it,
when I use one of those clipping platforms, I know full well that like it's just like pure luck that it'll grab the good stuff, but it just saves time. But I would never use it for creative work. Like I would never edit a fictional narrative film with AI. That's part of the creative process. Like clipping for social media is just fucking like administrative work. It's mundane. But editing a narrative film, I would never use AI for that because AI could never get across exactly what you'd want to across. That's an art.
yeah, no, if it doesn't have a soul, it doesn't understand expression.
Right.
There'd basically be no light behind it. I mean, yeah.
Right.
It's interesting times. I have a slight feeling that any school that decides to do more discussions in class where the teacher actually tries to engage with students more as opposed to assigning homework will probably fare a lot better. Like for a lot of Gen Z who I think have been kind of screwed by this, maybe look into a trades job where you literally work under a mentor because like that one-on-one, that social aspect of it, I think can still fix you. But on a large scale, I think we're kind of be going through quite a rough patch. I mean, especially like think about it this way. The oldest millennials are having grandchildren. They are in their mid 40s. I mean, not many are grandparents, but they're getting there. We're only 25 years away from them entering retirement. That means we're a generation away of basically the last hurrah of the educational system working. And I mean, what the fuck do we do then?
All right. Yeah, I think we're in a really, and this is completely devoid of like specific to the Trump administration. Obviously, they are making things worse in their own way and causing damage for generations in their own way. But in terms of like big tech and AI, that this was happening under Biden too, and it's going to continue happening under another Democrat unless something is done. We are headed towards a very bad place. And like I said, I think there's a generation where it's too late for, and I think we need to nip it in the bud now. We need to fix it now. It needs to be fixed
Yeah,
now.
hard line, no cell phones in school. Teachers have to do more classwork in the
I actually
school.
think that's
And
not. I really don't think that's the answer because I think you just basically are going to create. You're kicking the can. You're kicking the problem down the can down the road, whatever the fucking phrase is. I think young people need to be brought up how. I mean, sort of like the millennial generation was. I'm not saying this in a, like, oh, we did it this way purposefully. No, but like the way we were brought up, because we in the time period we were brought up in, the technology wasn't there throughout, so we had to be sort of given a little bit at a time to the point
We
where
were the
like,
transition generation.
yes,
We were there to experience
y-
both
y-
sides of this. So we have
yes.
the critical thinking of prior, and we understand the digital
Now
technology as it came in.
we were
Yeah.
lucky. We were lucky for that to happen naturally.
We were
There,
God's chosen generation. Please
right,
continue.
right. But that needs to be now for the future generations. Needs to be the way it is set up purposefully, with that in mind, like with the outcome in mind. Like we didn't know because it wasn't done purposefully. It's just how the technology advanced as we, our generation, grew up. But now that has to be replicated purposefully for younger generations, so they are taught to think critically and use these things in moderation, and how they're tools to help enhance your life. They should not take over your life.
That is exactly what we need, and it will not happen for at least 6 years
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that would take a massive. That would basically require some authoritarian measures to pull off. So
There's also no money in it. Big tech isn't going to support that. Where's the money for it? They need everyone to believe that AI is everything. It is the future. Is the present day. It is the future. You're missing out. It's the new. It's the same shit you would hear from the crypto, in the insane crypto people. Oh, have fun staying poor. You're missing out. It's the same shit you hear from the AI people. Oh, you'll be left behind. You'll lose your job because if the only people who are going to still have jobs are people who've integrated AI into their bull fucking shit. It's the same hype bubble we've heard over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, AI can't replace all of this. It's just like how back in the 2010s when I was at college, and they were just like, "Oh, these algorithms that Google makes will eventually be able to replace so much," and it's just like, no, that's not how this works.
Right. The only difference between this
You-
and the only difference between this and crypto is that there are actual use cases for it. Again, not the hype use cases that are given to us by the big tech companies, but there are actual use cases for it. But that's the only difference. Otherwise, it's the same fucking ball game. It's the same marketing scheme. It's the same strategy to push it onto people.
Yeah, I used to think that like institutions would be able to fix these things as they came along, but you remember back during, and this will be the last point I make, but you remember back during the Obama administration when Michelle Obama was trying to get people at schools to eat healthier foods,
It was the
and the
worst.
right kind
It
of
was the worst thing that ever happened to this country. How could I forget it?
yeah. So around that same time, the Pentagon was actually making kind of a fuss because they were noticing that in the event that we were in a full-scale conflict where we needed to conscript the youth, we would have a very limited labor or a very limited pool of people to pull from because so much of the population was out of shape. So even elements within like the Defense Department were on board with this. Obama was quite popular at that moment and still couldn't face this problem head on, which leads me to believe without like mass public movements, I don't think we will ever be able to get the institution of the state to fix these problems.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, I think like, and I don't even know how
They're
you would even get a labor
they're too
movement going
bought.
anymore, but
They're too bought. Lobbyists will make it impossible.
yeah, lobbyists make it difficult. However, politicians do have to break if there are 1 million people marching in the 20 largest countries or 20 largest cities in the country.
Yeah,
Like
but
that
if
can
if's a
through sheer
big
force, but
that if is a
I don't know how
major
you get there.
that if is a major if, That's because I don't see it happening right now. It's a major if.
All right, plan B. We move to Canada. You know, they did just recently elect a communist banker. I mean, we just have to learn a little French, that's all.
Right. Communist banker?
Yeah, they elected a communist banker. Have you not been following the news?
Right. That's according to the right, correct? I hope that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, certainly you listen to right-wing talk radio. They
Right.
elected a communist
Communist
banker.
banker. Right. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lucky devils.
A Maoist landlord too, I heard.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave you there. Everyone, please enjoy Donald Trump's great leap backwards or whatever the hell it is we're living through. You have a
Yep.
good night.
Have a great night, Kowalski. Always a pleasure. This was great. All right, folks. Phone lines are closed. I'm going to read the super chats. This has been a fantastic call-in show. Like I said, sometimes we get great calls and then good calls. Sometimes we get great calls, but people like to share personal stories, which is great. But in terms of like a show for everybody to learn, every caller had a new point, something to bring to the table on a broader scale. It was great. Fantastic episode. Let's go to the super chats. I read this Bay Photo one already. Tokyo Hans, thank you for the 5 gift memberships. Renee with a few super chats in a row. Let me read them all. Post the phone number. I did. I didn't post it visually. I should get a little banner going on the screen. You're right. Renee also says James Jesus Angleton was secretly Chicano and an outright woo-woo fascist. By the way, chat, shame on you for not mentioning the Matt mullet. I've had this for a while. So they have previously. It's my hair. It's already growing out of shape, but as you can see, it is a full. There's no hair here, or it's very little. Jeffrey Caney with a super chat. A Matt Binder, Jamie Peck, and Friends show would be wonderful. How do your ideas compare with hers on mutual aid and communication style? Oh, I've done a show with at least one show. I used to so shortly after Michael passed, that's when Sam reached out to me to have me come on Thursdays. And so of course I agreed because I wanted to help out, and so I was doing the show remotely with Jamie. And funny enough, just earlier that same year, right before COVID, Sam was busy or something, or he was sick. I don't remember. And he had me come into the studio to host a show with Jamie. So I've done a show with Jamie before, both in person and remotely. Me and Jamie get along great as far as I know. I had never had anything but good experience with Jamie. If she ever wanted to do any show with me, whether it be a one-off or a regular thing, I would totally be open to it. Jamie Peck is great. Honestly, I really, really, really want to do live shows, like in person in New York City, live shows. I'm not saying it's gonna happen like regularly, but it'd be great to have like a regular schedule, like once every couple of months, or if it got really good, maybe once a month or something like that. I really miss doing live stuff. I would do a lot of live stuff back when I was in a band, with live all multiple times a week back in the day. And then I did the live podcast stuff. I did that live episode of Scam Economy. I think that's the most fun thing to do, a live show in front of a live audience. I would love to do that. I'm thinking maybe if it makes sense, me and Ariana Jasmine from Leftist Mafia, we should do a live show, even if it's not with the rest of the Leftist Mafia crew, because she just moved to New York City. I think that would be a perfect trial run, honestly. Let's see. Where's the next super chat? I lost my place. Give me 1 second here. Oh, this isn't a super chat, but Missing Future says, did Binder ever say what instrument he played? I played bass. and I was a vocalist. There were bands where I was just a vocalist. But my main band, the one I was with the longest, we played the most shows. We played Knitting Factory, CBGB's, Irving Plaza. We were the real deal. We never really got too far out of New York City. We played some Jersey shows, some upstate shows, a number of Long Island shows. But like we played at whatever venues were open at the time in the mid to no, really the mid 2000s, uh, we played them. If venue was open, we played it pretty much. And we were asked to play these shows because we brought out a crowd. For that band, I played bass and did vocals with the main vocalist. It was a punk band. When I say vocalist, I don't mean I was doing some beautiful singing. I can't give you anything a cappella. But if there's punk music behind me, I have a voice that fits the music. Hold on, this is funny. CXL says, please not Ariana. She is such a fake Gen Z. uh, she said she's born in 96, right? I'm sorry. My youngest brother is 96. He doesn't consider himself to be Gen Z. He considers himself to be a millennial. Because 96 is the last year for millennial. I mean, you can feel more in tune with the other generation because it is on the cusp. But technically, you're not. Senshorse over on Twitch says you have a bass player vibe. Yeah, I picked up bass because, quite frankly, it was the easiest. It's the easiest instrument, and I prefer calling myself a bass player rather than a bassist because I don't read music. I used to read music when I was in elementary school. I took up the clarinet in in the school band, and I was able to read music then. And then after a few years, I dropped it. And when I went to go pick up music again, I did not recall anything. So I just played by ear with bass when I started playing bass. And even then, when I say play by ear, I mean a lot of times it was either A, coming up with the riff myself, or B, if I was learning the guitarist to my band, if I was learning a riff he came up with, he would just be like, second string, fourth fret. He would like tell me where to press it. And then I'd remember. And then I would usually go up and down the scales to come up with my own bass line. But I would need that first a guideline. Tokyo Hans with a super chat. Get a colonoscopy. Finally got one 2 years ago. Found a thing and got it out early. My brother never did and passed at 49. It may seem scary, but get it done. All right, I will. What age are you supposed to do it? They said there's an age you should do it at. Is it 40? Oh, God. Almost there. Oh, no. Christian Cut Button with a super chat. Hey, Matt, happy to say that I filed to run for Congress out here in California on a pro-worker socialist platform. Thank you for all you do. Well, Christian, reach out to me and let's talk. Tokyo Hans with another super chat. Asks ChatGPT, how do I breathe? Yeah, I mean, some people literally are asking ChatGPT the most basic shit like that. Yeah, at 40, I'll do it. Everyone, I promise, I will. I got kids. I need to obviously put them first, and I will. I'm not looking forward to it though. I don't even know what the process is. I'm not looking forward to it though. Oh. I'm very, like I said, I've never been in the hospital. I'm very like, not a lot makes my skin crawl, but thinking of like tubes in my body is really probably the most difficult thing I could think of. It really does make me very straight up afraid, honestly. And I'm not someone squeamish. But that will do it. That will do it for me. 100%. And not even just having to do with colonoscopy, like the idea of like when you're in the hospital, you get like the tubes in your nose to help you breathe or whatever. Like my wife has had to do that before, and I've been like, how do you let them do that? Like I can't even imagine being in that position. I would not be able to do it. They would literally have to knock me out cold to do it. I would not be able to do it. Like knock me out cold every which way. Like everything we're talking about, the colonoscopy, everything. Um, Joshua Keller with a super chat. I'm a temporary thousandaire. Have some money because you wore a shirt I liked on the last Leftist Mafia, the Rockaway Beach Boys one from the Ramones. Right, it was the parody shirt. So it was the Ramones, the infamous Ramones cover, but it was a parody because it was Razor Ramon, the wrestler, as Joey, Johnny, Dee Dee, and Marky, and like his face on all four of their bodies, and they dropped the E from the Ramones, so it just says Ramon. It actually says Ramones, but without the E, because Razor Ramon was spelled without the E. Dylan Huntley with a super chat. I'm writing an essay on Ray Gun, the Aussie breakdancer. Want to learn more about white progressive failures in 2000 to 2014? Example, Bill M, Me Too, Say Her Name, Gamergate. Yeah. Huh. Mm. Bay Photo with a super chat. $10 super chat. Thank you, Bay Photo. As soon as you get off the Bay Bridge in San Francisco, there is a ton of billboards with tech ads. It's a good way to gauge the current Silicon Valley trend. Since 2023, it's been all ads for AI. Ugh. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Hit over the head with being tired now. I can imagine Bay Photo. Kowalski with a super chat, $10. Thank you, Kowalski. Long live the Republic. Despite all the issues we face, I still think we will succeed. In the spirit of hope, May 9th is John Brown's birthday. Celebrate by defacing a Confederate statue. Right. Over on Twitch. Oh, nothing over on Twitch. That's okay. But folks, if you want to support this show, go to patreon.com/MattBinder and consider becoming a monthly patron at patreon.com/MattBinder. You could also drop a super chat, which a bunch you just did. You can also become a YouTube member at youtube.com/MattBinder. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you get a free Prime subscription every month from Amazon, and it's free with your Amazon Prime subscription. So use it, otherwise you're letting Amazon keep more of your money. And I'm telling you this because I hope you give it to me at twitch.tv/MattBinder. I will be on the Majority Report tomorrow, and special, if you don't know already, special show tomorrow. Emma is out, so I think Brandon will be there too, but myself and Brandon will be co-hosting alongside Sam Cedar, a very special Thursday show with Sam. So tune in then. And then, if I recall correctly, I was asked a couple of days ago, I'm assuming it's still going to be the case, Sam will leave a little bit early, and then it's basically myself and Brandon fully taking over. So all the boys club, just the boys, sushi with the boys. And then Leftist Mafia tomorrow. I might be a little bit late to the Leftist Mafia tomorrow because I have been invited to the Zateo 1-year anniversary event in New York City. And I will be going, obviously, because why wouldn't I go to that? That's Mehdi Hassan's independent journalism venture, and that's awesome. They've completed a year, and I feel like they've grown so much in a short amount of time, and I look forward to meeting everyone there. It's early enough where I should be back in time for Leftist Mafia. I just might be a little bit late. Like maybe when everyone else starts at 8:30, maybe I'll jump on at 9 or 9:30. I'm assuming something like that. So yeah, I will see you all in Leftist Mafia though. C Exel says, Matt, aren't you 40? No, I'm not 40 yet. I'm close. I'm 38. So I'm not quite 40 yet. Close though. Close. Very close. All right, folks. I will see you tomorrow on Majority Report on Leftist Mafia. And if you're not tuning in then I'll see you all next time on this show. Oh, who should I rate over on Twitch? Who's on Twitch right now? Let me see. Oh, Riverboat Jack is on. I haven't rated Riverboat Jack in a while. So let me raid Riverboat Jack. CXO says, you look 30. Thank you. I appreciate that. A lot of people say I look like I'm in my 20s, early 30s. And that makes me feel very good. I don't think I look old. I don't know what I look like. I don't feel old or think that I look old. But to hear it from other people makes it good because I don't mind how old I am number-wise, but I just want to feel like I'm not whatever the number is. And I luckily I don't feel that yet. All right, folks. Christian with another super chat DM'd you on Twitter. I will take a look. Thank you so much. And we'll look into talking. All right. All right, everyone. I'm rating Riverboat Jack. Enjoy Riverboat Jack's show. Otherwise, I will see you all either tomorrow on Majority Report or on Leftist Mafia or next time on this show. Have a great night, everybody.